Picture this. You have spent 3 years doing everything people call smart. You skipped trips. You packed lunch every day. You said no when your friends went out. Little by little, you built your savings until one day you open your banking app and see $15,000 sitting there. You feel proud. Maybe even a little proud of how hard you worked for it. Then your eyes move to one small line on the screen. Interest earned $127. That is it. 3 years of saying no. 3 years of sacrifice. 3 years of being careful. And the bank paid you $127. The worst part? You did nothing wrong. That $127 is not a mistake. It is not bad luck. It is exactly what the account was built to do. The bank is happy to hold your money. But while it sits there, something else keeps moving. Prices rise. Costs go up. And little by little, your money buys less than it did before. Most people do not notice it happening. They just keep saving and believe they are moving forward. Then 10 years pass, and they realize their money never really grew. I wish someone had told me this sooner, because a savings account is great for holding money, but it was never made to build wealth. In this video, we are going to break down what savings accounts really do, why so many people stay stuck in them, and what you can do instead without taking a huge risk or feeling like you are jumping into the unknown. Section 1. Most of us grew up hearing the same money advice. Work hard. Do not waste money. Save what is left. Put it in the bank. And for a long time, that felt right. It felt smart. It felt responsible. Most of all, it felt safe. But the word safe hides a problem. Because when people say a savings account is safe, what they really mean is this. Your money does not go down. You put in $15,000. You open the app next week. It still says $15,000. Next month, still $15,000. That steady number gives you peace. It feels like nothing bad is happening. But there is something nobody talks about. The world around that money never stands still. Food prices move. Rent moves. Insurance moves. Bills move. Everything keeps walking forward. Your savings account stays where it is. Think about a grocery trip from 3 years ago. Maybe you spent $200 and filled the cart. Today, that same trip could cost $260. Same store, same food, more money. Your savings balance did not change. But what that money can buy did. That is the part people miss. We look at the number and think we are winning. We see the balance stay the same and call it security. But money is not just a number on a screen. Money is buying power. It is what that number can do for your life. And when buying power gets smaller every year, keeping the number the same is not really staying even. It is falling behind, just very slowly. Slow enough that most people never notice it. That is why a savings account can feel safe while quietly taking you in the wrong direction. It looks like protection, it feels like progress, but sometimes a slow loss wears the mask of a win. Section 2, here is what is really happening inside your savings account, and once you see it, it becomes hard to forget. The bank pays you interest for keeping your money there. Maybe it is around 0.5% in a normal savings account. That number sounds small, but it does not sound dangerous. It feels harmless. Now place that beside inflation. Inflation is the reason food costs more today than it did years ago. It is the reason rent rises. It is the reason bills seem to grow even when your life stays the same. Over time, inflation has often been around 3% a year, sometimes even more. Now look at those two numbers again. You gain about 0.5%. The cost of life rises about 3%. That space between them matters, because that space is your real return. And for many savings accounts, that real return is negative, around negative 2.5% every year. Not because you made a bad choice. Not because you lost money in a crash. Just because your money sat still. Think of it like a bucket filled with water. Each year the bank pours in a small cup of water. That is your interest. But near the bottom of the bucket is a hole. That hole is inflation. And the water is leaving faster than it is coming in. From the outside, the bucket still looks fine. It still feels full. Nothing looks wrong. But little by little, it is losing strength. That is what happens to buying power. Your bank app will show the balance. Your statement will show the interest. But it will never show how much your money can no longer buy. And that is why some people save for decades, work hard, and still reach retirement feeling surprised. The money is there. The problem is that it does not go as far as they hoped. They saved. They were disciplined. But the place they chose to keep their money was quietly moving them backward the whole time. Section 3, now let's make this real. Imagine you are 35 years old. You have $15,000. You do nothing with it. You leave it alone for 25 years. At age 60, you come back and see what happened. First picture, a normal savings account. The kind most people use, the kind that pays around 0.5% interest. After 25 years, your money grows to about $17,000. That means you earned around $2,000. Over 25 years on $15,000. Now look at a second path. Same money. Same person, same 25 years, but this time the money sits in a high-yield savings account. It is still savings, it is still safe. But the rate is much better, around 4% to 5% depending on the time. After 25 years, that same $15,000 becomes about $40,000. Nothing changed except the account. No extra work, no extra saving. Just a different place for the money to live. Now look at the third path. The same $15,000 goes into a broad market index fund. It grows at around 8% a year over time. You leave it alone. You do not add another dollar. 25 years later, it becomes more than $102,000. Read that again. $15,000. Turns into over $100,000. And all three people started at the exact same place. One ends with $17,000. One ends with $40,000. One ends with $102,000. The difference is not effort. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is where the money stayed. And here is the number that should stop you. The gap between the first and third path is about $85,000. That is not small. That is years of freedom, extra choices, less stress, a better retirement, all lost because of one decision made long before the result ever showed up. Section 4. So if investing can grow money faster, why do so many smart and careful people still keep most of their money in savings accounts? The answer is not money. It is emotion. It is comfort. And it starts with one simple thing. You can see the money. Open your savings app and the number is there. Still, quiet, steady. It does not jump up. It does not fall. It does not surprise you on a random day. That calm feeling matters more than most people think, especially if you grew up in a home where money came and went. Maybe there were months when things were hard. Maybe bills felt heavy. Maybe there was never enough. When you know what that feels like, seeing money stay in one place feels powerful. It feels like control. Investing feels different because investing moves. Some days it goes up, some days it goes down, and this is where people panic. Imagine seeing $15,000 become $13,800. Nothing was sold, nothing was lost forever, but your brain does not care. It sees a smaller number, it sounds every alarm, it says, get out, protect yourself, stop this now. That reaction is normal. Your brain thinks loss means danger, it wants safety, it wants certainty. What it forgets is time, because time changes the story. Markets move, they rise, they fall, then they rise again. The drop feels scary because it happens fast. The recovery feels boring because it happens slowly. But over long periods, growth has often beaten the fear. The real danger is not seeing the number go down. The real danger is pulling out too soon and turning a shortfall into a permanent loss. For many people, a savings account is more than a place for money. It is comfort, it is protection, it is peace. But sometimes the thing that feels safest is also the thing keeping you from moving forward. And building wealth often starts with seeing that difference. Section 5 right now, you may be thinking something like this. Okay, I understand the point. But what if I need the money? What if life happens? What if I cannot leave it there for 25 years? That is not fear talking. That is a smart question. And it is the question that separates planning from gambling. Because the answer is not to invest everything. The answer is to protect yourself first. Before money goes into investments, you need a safety floor. That floor is your emergency fund. This is money for real life, job loss, car repairs, medical bills, unexpected problems. That money stays easy to reach, not locked away, not invested, just ready. Most people aim for 3 to 6 months of living costs. If your bills are $2,000 each month, that means keeping around $6,000 to $12,000 set aside. That money can stay in savings. Or even better, a high-yield savings account where it can still earn something while it waits. That money has one job: protect you, nothing else. But once that safety floor is built, something changes. Any money above it is different. Your life does not depend on it tomorrow. You do not need it next week. You are giving it time. And time is where growth happens. That is the money that should work harder. Because asking long-term money to sit in a savings account is like hiring a race car and leaving it parked in a garage forever. It was built to move. The goal was never to empty your savings. Savings matter. They give peace. They give breathing room. They keep small problems from becoming big ones. The mistake is expecting them to build wealth. That was never their job. A savings account was built to hold money, not grow it. And once you understand that, you stop asking it to do work it was never designed to do. Section 6, so what do you do now? Here is the path. Simple, clear, step by step. First, find your emergency number. Take your monthly needs: rent, food, bills, transport, insurance. Anything you must pay, even if life gets hard. Add them together. Now multiply that number by 4. That is your minimum emergency target. If your monthly costs are $2,500, your goal becomes $1,000. Keep that money in savings. Only that money. And if possible, use a high-yield savings account so it earns more while it waits. Step 2 is opening an investment account. This sounds bigger than it is. It is not. Many low-cost platforms can be opened in about 15 minutes. You do not need a financial advisor. You do not need to be rich. You need an email address, your bank details, and a little time. Step 3 is where many people make things too hard. Do not start with single stocks. Do not chase fast money. Do not jump into things you do not understand. Keep it simple. Choose one broad market index fund. One fund. That is enough. Instead of betting on one company, you spread your money across many. You do not need to study every business. You let the market do the work. Step 4 is moving the extra money. Anything above your emergency target can start working. You do not have to move it all today. If that feels scary, split it. Move part this month, part next month. Keep going for 3 to 6 months. The speed matters less than the direction. What matters is that the money starts moving. Then comes step 5. Make it automatic. Pick one day each month. Move money from your bank into your investment account. Even $100 matters. The amount is not the secret. The habit is. Because when it happens by itself, you stop depending on motivation. You remove the daily choice. And when the right action becomes automatic, building wealth gets much easier. Section 7. There is one mistake people make right here, and it causes more problems than almost anything else. They learn about investing. They see the numbers. They understand the growth. And then they go too far. They move everything, savings, emergency money, every dollar. They tell themselves they will handle it if life gets hard. Then life gets hard. Because life always does at some point. Maybe work slows down, maybe the car breaks, maybe a medical bill shows up, maybe something happens that nobody planned for. And suddenly they need cash, fast. But now the emergency money is inside investments, so they have to sell, not when they want, when they need. And sometimes that day is a bad market day. The value is down. The timing is terrible. But they have no choice. They sell anyway. That is how small drops become real losses. And after that, many people make another mistake. They blame investing. They say it is risky. They say it does not work. Then they move everything back into savings and never try it again. But investing was not the problem. The missing emergency fund was. That fund is not extra. It is not the boring step. It is not something you rush through to reach the exciting part. It is the base holding everything up. Think of it like building a house. Nobody sees the foundation. Nobody talks about it. But without it, everything breaks. Your emergency fund is that foundation. Build it first. Keep it separate, protect it, and do not touch it unless it is a real emergency. Because when the market drops, that money gives you time. It gives you space. It stops a hard moment from becoming a financial disaster. And sometimes the best investment move is the money you never invest at all. Section 8, the people who retire early are not always the smartest people in the room. And the people who reach their 60s and keep working because they want to, not because they have to, are not always the luckiest. Most of them made one quiet choice. A choice that did not look exciting. A choice nobody clapped for. At some point, maybe in their 30s, maybe later, they stopped letting their money sit still, and they made it move. That was the change. Not a secret, not perfect timing, not finding the next big stock, just a simple decision. Their money would work instead of wait. They did not invest because they were brave. Most people feel nervous in the beginning. They invested because they finally saw that keeping money in savings was not the careful choice they thought it was. It was the expensive choice. Now picture yourself 25 years from now. There are 2 versions of that future. In the first one, you stayed where you were. You kept doing what felt safe. You kept the same plan, the same account, the same comfort. You arrive at 60. Your $15,000 became $17,000. You look back and wonder where the years went. Then there is another version. You made one small move. You learned, you invested. You stayed calm when the market moved. You saw the dips. You kept going anyway. And at 60, that same $15,000 became more than $102,000. That is before adding another dollar. Same money, same starting point, same person, same discipline. Only one thing changed, where the money lived. And that choice changed everything. A savings account is a beginning, not the finish line. It gives safety, it gives peace. But it is not where wealth is built. The sooner you see that, the more your future self may thank you. If this changed how you think about money, hit subscribe. The next video will show you how to choose your first index fund without feeling lost. And before you leave, answer this honestly. How long has money been sitting in your savings account that maybe should have been working harder? 1 year? 5? 10? Drop it in the comments. You may be surprised how many people are standing in the exact same place. The good news is this: you do not need to go back in time. You only need to decide what happens next.